Ever wondered what your houseplants are really thinking? Well, today you're going to find out. In this explainer, we're handing the microphone over to a peace lily. And believe me, it has a pretty urgent secret to share about how to stay alive.
All right, listen up. For the next few minutes, I'm talking. You probably know me for my shiny green leaves and those elegant white flowers. But forget all that. The real story, the stuff that truly matters to me, it all starts way down below the surface. You see, that pot you put me in, that's my entire universe. And the soil you choose to fill it with, that decides everything. It can be a place where I thrive, or it can be a slow, suffocating death trap. Seriously, the choice is all yours.
So let's get right to it. This is my plea. I need you to really understand what it's like from my perspective, down there in the dark, because that's where my life actually begins.
You gotta get this. This isn't just some casual gardening tip. For me, it's everything. My roots are how I drink, how I breathe, how I hold on. So your choice of soil isn't just a small detail. It is the single most important decision you will ever make for me. Period. So, what's my #1 enemy? The biggest threat to my existence? You might think it's you forgetting to water me, right? Nope. It's something way more sinister. It's the enemy I call soggy soil. Please understand this. My roots are not fish gills. They can't live underwater. They need oxygen to breathe. It's how I turn food into energy. When I'm stuck in dense, soaking wet soil, it is literally like you holding my head underwater. I suffocate. This right here is the #1 reason my relatives don't make it in your homes. These are the two worlds I can end up in. On one side, you've got the killer, that generic, standard potting mix. It compacts over time and turns into a heavy, wet sponge with zero air. It's a death sentence. But on the other side, the Haven, a mix that stays light and fluffy, full of tiny air pockets for my roots to breathe, even right after a good watering. That's the dream.
And the technical name for what happens in that killer soil? Root rot. And yeah, it's exactly as nasty as it sounds. My roots, starved for oxygen, literally begin to decay and die. And once root rot kicks in, man, it's so hard to come back. It all starts with the wrong soil.
But hey, enough doom and gloom. The good news is there's a solution, and it's actually beautifully simple. It all comes down to what I call the holy trinity of root health.
Look, my roots just want 3 things: a soil that holds just enough water, a home that has constant airflow so I can always breathe, and a setup that lets any extra water drain away fast. You give me that perfect balance, and I promise you, I will thrive. So how do you actually do that? How do you create that perfect balance? Well, it all comes down to 3 secret ingredients. Let's break them down, starting with #1. The first ingredient in this perfect recipe is our base. This is the part of the mix that's going to act as my personal water supply. Think of peat moss or coconut coir as a really smart sponge. It soaks up water and then slowly releases it to my roots when I need it. It basically stops me from drying out too fast. And hey, a little tip from me to you, coconut coir is a fantastic choice. It's sustainable and it resists getting all packed down over time. All right, next up, we absolutely have to make sure my roots can breathe. And for that, we need ingredient #2, perlite.
You know those little white styrofoam-looking specks in a good potting mix? That's perlite. It's actually super light volcanic glass that's been puffed up like popcorn. Its only job is to create thousands of little air channels throughout the soil. It physically stops the mix from compacting. It guarantees oxygen can always get to my roots. This stuff is absolutely non-negotiable.
And finally, the third ingredient. Honestly, this is the one I consider the real game changer for creating that perfect structure: pine bark fines. This is what takes a soil mix from good to great. These fines are just tiny little shredded pieces of pine bark, and they create bigger gaps in the soil, which makes drainage amazing. It also makes the soil a little acidic, which I love. But the best part? It mimics the chunky, airy forest floor where my wild ancestors grew up. My roots just know this stuff. It feels like home. Okay, you've met the 3 heroes: the moisture holder, the aerator, and the drainage creator. Now, let's put it all together. It's time for the perfect recipe. And the magic ratio is 1:1:1:1. That's it. It is that simple. 3 ingredients, equal parts.
So all you have to do is take 1 part peat moss or coir for moisture, mix it with 1 part perlite for aeration, and add 1 part pine bark fines for drainage. Combine it all together, and just like that, you've created my perfect world. You've nailed that holy trinity my roots have been begging you for.
So there you have it. The secret is out. My health, my beauty, my very life, it all starts in the soil you give me. My entire world is in your hands. But now you don't have to guess anymore. You have the recipe to make it perfect. So what's it going to be? Will you create a trap or a home?